How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Lucid that ended up posting another green day inside of the market. We've been seeing a lot of strength in tech. We also did have Google release their earnings and they ended up crushing it. We also did see this with AMD. So as far as for the tech sector for tomorrow, things are definitely looking really good. And this is why I want to put this video together so you have a strategy for Lucid. So I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder or you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to go on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to take a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the selling and the buying behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for Lucid. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $29.96, being up 1.94%. On the low, it tested $28.62, and then on the high, testing $30.85. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 38.77 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 45.739 million shares. So we did have below average volume on the day, but we did see some strength in Lucid stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is the daily chart, we can see from the RSI down below, it is around 35.51. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 50-day, the 21-day EMA, the 100-day, and we did finish above the 200-day. So first, what we can see from Lucid, we are forming higher lows for the past two trading days. So this is what you want to see because this does give us a bullish signal. But we want to see market strength. So we know that Google ended up releasing their earnings and they crushed it. So if we see some momentum in tech going into tomorrow, you want to see Lucid actually pass this resistance area at 30.85 that it had on the day. Most preferably, you want to see a move going to at least around 32.50. This is where I could see there being some very strong resistance if it's able to get there. And if it does get there and it does hold up, then you'd want to see it test around the 100-day, which would be around $35.55. Now, if the market does decide to pull back, don't be shocked if you see Lucid pull back underneath the 200-day, and then you'd want to see if it could hold up $28. If it can't hold up $28, then you can look forward to seeing it get down to maybe around the $26 range. So let's see what it does going into tomorrow. So let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for Lucid. So green rows indicate new positions while red rows indicate closed positions. So we're going to take a look at the recent filings for February the 1st. So we have Zurcher Cantonal Bank, which went in with 110,398 shares. We have Dixon Hughes Goodman Wealth Advisors LLC that purchased 713 shares. And we also have Nomura Asset Management Company that purchased 124,773 shares. Now, when we take a look at the short interest, the dark pool short volume ratio is at 54.17%, and then for the dark pool short volume, it is just over 11 million shares. Scrolling down further on the page, the short shares availability is at 350,000, updated 14 minutes ago, and then for the short ball fee rate is at 8.98%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume ratio, we can see for the close of the 28th, it's at 51.23. And then for the close of the 31st, it is at 54.17. So what this tells us right away, it does continue to have short squeeze potential, and it's part of the reasons why we have a lot of volatility in this play. So now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Lucid. So we see here on the inflow, it was at 222, and then on the outflow, it's at 216. So we had an inflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown on the large, it was 6.64. On the medium, it was 87.42, and then on the small, it was 128. When we take a look at the outflow side, we can see on the large, it was 2.43. On the medium, it was 88.84, and then on the small, it was 124. Keep in mind these numbers are in the millions. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you could see for today, February the 1st, it was at 4.21 million being an inflow. And then when we analyze the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tends to represent the retail side, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the large, which we just covered, which represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had 6.64 million versus 2.43 million. So we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 2.36%. So again, consistent range for Lucid, and this is what you want to see. What this tells us, there are many who are holding on to their position, and we do know that there's demand in the market for Lucid shares. But one thing that we have to be aware of though is keep an eye on how the EV sector is doing, especially for Tesla. And we've known as far as momentum inside of the tech sector, it can have an impact on Lucid, and is why you do not want to be out there just buying puts blindly, all right? So let's go into the final thoughts and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for Lucid, when we take into consideration the price action, looking at the technicals, yes, it is looking bullish because it has been forming higher lows for the past 2 trading days. But the area that you want to pay attention to in regards to price, can it reclaim $32.50? This is what is key. It looked like it wanted to make that move to $31, but there was a good amount of selling pressure and it was unable to do that. So this is why I say, if it goes in tomorrow trying to test 30, look for that move to $32.50. If it can't do that, then of course it's going to pull back. The price you want to look for in regards to weakness is seeing if Lucid could hold $29. If it can't hold $29 and we're having a pullback inside of the market, this is where we can get down to the low 28s and possibly touch around the 27. So again, you want to keep an eye on the overall market conditions. I know I sound like a broken record, but this is very important. And since we did have some great earnings that came out for a lot of well-known tech companies, this is why you have to keep this play on your radar and follow the direction and do not go against the trend. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information, it does continue to have short squeeze potential as well, and there's still many shorts who are vested in this play. And then when we take a look at the recent institutional ownership, we still have institutions who have been loading up on shares. Like I've been saying, since Lucid has been entered into the NASDAQ 100, it's a different stock altogether. If tech is strong, there's a good chance Lucid is going to be showing strength as well. And there's going to be a lot of anticipation leading into earnings. And this is why I'm saying there's a chance that this stock can have a strong run up, but you have to go off of the price action. Pay attention to those levels that I mentioned, and you should be perfectly fine. And for all of my investors out there, again, I would just continue to be patient. There's no need to rush whatsoever, especially with the current market conditions that we are in. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll be talking real soon.